An ordinary boy was shrunk to a tiny size and placed in an anthill. Ready to find out what happened to him next? Then let's get started. A small ant named Zoc is gathering ingredients for his potion. He's not just any ant, but a real wizard, mastering ancient magic. The other ants complain that he's keeping them awake, but Zoc can't stop. He's just found the final ingredient for his potion: fiery crystals. Meanwhile, on the surface, worker ants are busy fortifying their anthill. Suddenly, a giant falls onto the lawn, and the ants scream in terror, calling him the Destroyer. In reality, it's no giant at all but an ordinary 10-year-old boy named Lucas, who is constantly teased by the neighborhood kids. The thing is, he's very small and weak and can't stand up for himself. Lucas spots a water gun on the ground, notices a small anthill on the lawn, and douses it with water. Chaos erupts among the ants as they scatter in panic from the sudden flood. Lucas then stomps on the anthill, destroying it, and tries to crush the ants under his trainers. But don't be too quick to judge Lucas for his cruelty and bad behavior. This boy recently moved into a new home, has no friends, is constantly bullied, and his parents treat him like he's still just a little kid. As a result, Lucas takes out all his frustration on the tiny insects. At night, Zoc tries to prepare his magical potion, and his beloved Hova claps her little paws in joy. However, the potion for some reason doesn't change its color. The head of the Ant Council comes to Zoc and Hova, asking the wizard to solve the problem with the Destroyer as soon as possible. Because of him, thousands of ants lost their homes today and barely survived. Lucas's parents go on vacation, leaving him with his grandmother and older sister Tiffany. His grandmother is a bit crazy and constantly tries to protect their home from aliens. Lucas feels very lonely. The local bullies tease him again, throwing a firecracker at his feet, but fortunately, it doesn't explode. Meanwhile, Zoc finally succeeds in preparing his magical potion. Unfortunately, his joy is short-lived, as Lucas once again pours water onto the anthill. The poor ants are forced to leave their home again and run as fast as they can to escape from the flood. A man approaches Lucas. His name is Stan Beals, and he is a professional exterminator, a hunter of insects. The man convinces Lucas to sign a contract for clearing the land, claiming that this was something his father had wanted to do. Zoc and Hova struggle to get to dry land. Fortunately, their pet firefly managed to save the magical potion. In the middle of the night, Zoc sneaks into Lucas's room and pours the magical potion directly into his ear. At that very moment, the boy shrinks and becomes as tiny as an ant. He falls off the bed and straight into his bag of chips, where he sees Zoc. Lucas's grandma wakes up from the suspicious noises, enters Lucas's room, and using a powerful binocular, notices that the ants are carrying her tiny grandson somewhere. Lucas is brought into the anthill and dropped down. He lands on a green lawn where caterpillars are grazing, then rolls further. He is surrounded by ant soldiers and taken to trial. The boy is accused of mistreating insects, and the queen of the colony is to announce her verdict. Most of the ants want the Destroyer to be executed, thrown into a pit, or even eaten. However, the ant queen disagrees. She says that Lucas will live and work in their colony as an ordinary ant. Hova agrees to become his teacher, much to Zoc's dismay. At first, Lucas tries to escape and refuses to listen to Hova, but he has no choice. He is obliged to find his place in the colony. The first task is to learn how to gather food. Lucas is assigned to the team of blue ants, which must overcome all obstacles, find the sweet blue stone, and return. But Lucas doesn't succeed. He falls several times, and then fails to climb over a tall wall, causing his team to lose. Suddenly, the ant colony is attacked by vicious wasps who steal their aphids. The ants defend themselves using large, heavy stones and sticky liquid shots, but their enemies are much stronger. Lucas hides in the tall grass, and one of the wasps grabs Hova. The boy finds a firecracker that was once thrown there by the local bullies. Using a makeshift lens, he lights it. The loud explosion scares off the wasps, and they fly away. The ants are very grateful to Lucas for saving them. Everyone, except Zoc, who realizes that the boy wasn't saving the ants, but rather himself. In the evening, the ants dine on sweet green pellets, and Lucas finds them very tasty. Suddenly, he notices where these pellets come from. They're produced by the caterpillars. The boy immediately feels nauseous. Hova brings a healing root and prepares medicine for Lucas. The boy lets out an extremely loud burp, and he immediately feels better. The ants give Lucas a tour of their domain. They enter an ancient hall and see old frescoes depicting the history of the ants. One of the images shows their matriarch, whom they revere as a goddess. Another depicts the greatest evil, a human surrounded by a toxic cloud that brings death to all. Lucas realizes with horror that this is the exterminator, and he understands that Stan will soon arrive to destroy the anthill. The boy takes a few ants with him and returns home. Together, they must cross a massive carpet with long fibers. Lucas suggests using rose petals as gliders, while a fan will provide the necessary wind direction. Lucas notices a photo of his family and realizes how much he misses them. The group reaches the kitchen and sees a table filled with sweet candies. The ants push the candies off the table onto the floor, while Lucas attempts to call Stan to cancel the terms of their contract. He has to jump on the phone's buttons to dial the correct digits. Unfortunately, he accidentally dials the wrong number and ends up calling a pizza delivery service. Tiffany returns home and notices one of the ants on the table. She tries to squash it with her phone, but the ant manages to escape. The ants, along with Lucas, hide in the sewer. Lucas, Hova, and a few other ants return and encounter angry Zoc. Upon learning that they were in a human's house, he expels Lucas from the ant colony. Zoc tells Hova that Lucas chose to leave the colony on his own, but the ant realizes he's lying. She asks her friends to go with her and find Lucas. The boy is sitting by the lake, feeling sad. He notices something in the water. It's a huge frog. The frog chases Lucas, trying to swallow him. He is found by other ants. They want to hide in an empty soda can, but Lucas can't climb into it. At that moment, the frog catches up to him. The ants are in horror. The frog has swallowed Lucas. Several beetles are already in its belly, and our hero joins them. The frog comes across Zoc and immediately swallows him. The ant ends up in her belly, where he meets Lucas and the beetles. Zoc uses the same healing root, which creates super powerful burps. All the insects fly out of the frog's belly. Lucas thanks Zoc for saving him, and the happy ants return home. Lucas admits that people don't know how to live as harmoniously as ants do. Each person is on their own, and that's why so many feel very lonely. A new day arrives. The ants wake up and see a huge ant above the grass. They think their matriarch has returned and are very happy. Unfortunately, they are mistaken. It is Stan who has arrived in his truck. He is preparing to exterminate the insects on this piece of land. Zoc tells the ants that they are all in great danger. Stan has sprayers, hoses, fly swatters, sulfur bombs, and many other terrifying things. Lucas admits that it was he who called Stan, and he is immediately taken into custody. The boy notices a vial of magical potion with Zoc and suggests that the ants shrink Stan so that he can't harm them. But how will they reach their enemy's ear? Zoc and Lucas fly to the wasp's lair and ask for their help. Seeing the poisonous cloud approaching, the wasps agree to team up with the ants. Using the wasps as airplanes, Lucas and a few ants take to the sky and try to pour the shrinking potion into Stan's ear. But there's a problem. The man is wearing headphones and the ants can't reach his ear. They need to make him take off the headphones. But how can they do that? Lucas lands directly on Stan's head, where he's greeted by a few lice. The boy slides down, falls onto Stan's nose, and grabs hold of a long hair. Stan sneezes, and Lucas is sent flying down. Our heroes see that Stan is about to destroy them. Due to the gas attack, many insects lose consciousness. Hova is pinned by a huge wasp. Lucas tries to save her, and with great effort, he lifts the heavy wasp. He is caught by the toxic gas cloud, but the boy heroically climbs up with the rescued wasp. Lucas comes up with a new plan. He decides to coat the stinger of one of the wasps with the potion. The insect stings him directly in a very sensitive spot. Stan immediately starts to shrink. While not becoming as tiny as an ant, he turns into a dwarf and, terrified, rushes off on a child's bicycle. The ants are happy. They have defeated their enemy. The queen of the colony announces that Lucas is no longer the destroyer, but has become a true ant. He has earned the right to return home to his family. Zoc gives him the magical potion, and the boy says goodbye to Hova and the other insects. He drinks the potion and returns to his normal size. His grandmother sees it and is overjoyed. Lucas's parents return home from their vacation. The boy is very happy to see them. Once again, he's teased by the local bully. But now, our hero joins forces with the other kids and stands up to his bully. Lucas doesn't forget about the ants and pours an entire pack of sweets into their anthill. They are happy.